Welcome, everybody, to Confessions of a Binge Eater. It's 2026, and I'm so excited for all that's possible for you. Yes, you can have a new relationship with food, a lasting relationship with food, where food doesn't own you, where you can just be neutral and decide, do I want to eat that or don't I want to eat that? Will that serve me and my health goals or won't it? Yes, wouldn't it be nice to have that kind of freedom to choose instead of feeling compelled and addicted? That's what's possible for you.
Love heals my hunger, mends my heart. I find the strength to make a new start. No more fear, no.
So let's dig into my second part of top 10 tips for lasting weight loss. I'm really excited to share the next 5 with you. So, number 6, and you got to listen to the first part of my top 10 tips on the previous episode. Okay, tip number 6, embrace the real journey. What do I mean by that? Well, when you have weight to lose and you want to lose it, you start looking for the next diet, the next exercise program, the next medication. All these different things are quick fixes, but they don't actually fix you. They might fix your weight temporarily, but if you're an emotional eater and you have an addictive personality, whatever quick fix you use is going to backfire on you eventually. So you got to go deeper. And the thing is, having a good meal plan is great, but what my clients are discovering is that when they stop focusing on food and weight and put the focus on their healing journey, meaning healing their addictive relationship with food, they start to discover that food is serving a deeper purpose in their life. It's serving as a painkiller. It's serving as an escape from thoughts and feelings they don't want to face. It's a way to punish themselves, right? We use food as reward, but then we end up feeling punished when we binge and feel like crap afterwards. So there is a relationship with food that needs healing. And in order to heal that, we have to go deeper, which means we have to look at not only how we relate to food, but how we relate to life, right? Like life is the problem, not food. Food's what we use when we can't handle life. Food's what we turn to when life feels hard. I often say it's a living problem, not an eating problem. And so my tip, embrace the real journey, means embrace that it's not about the food and it is about the personal development journey. So my clients are learning to speak up because we typically don't speak up. We typically doubt ourselves and how we feel. We don't say how we really feel to those around us who ask. We're like, I'm fine, which, fine is an acronym for effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So we have to start using our voice. My clients are learning to prioritize themselves and take care of themselves. They're learning new tools to lean on instead of leaning on food. So their lives are changing, not just their weight. They're losing weight from the inside out because they're realizing, oh, there's more to this. It's not just give me the next diet and let me follow that, because that never works. Instead, they're learning to trust themselves. They're learning to listen to that still small voice inside, their God self that's directing them and protecting them. So the inside journey is where it's at, okay? And if you're not doing that, get on board. Get on board. I want to help you with that. Tip number 7, don't try to heal on your own. I know it's tempting and we all do it. Let me just read the book, get the diet, do what it says, and be done. But how's that working? It's not working. You can't heal an addiction on your own. If you have an addictive habit around food, and you may already be like, whoa, 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 back it down. I don't have an addiction. Well, look at the record. If you've been struggling with food for decades, it's likely an addictive habit. Okay. If your relationship with food causes you to feel bad, if your relationship with food causes health issues, if your doctor has told you you're pre diabetic or even diabetic and you're still eating sugar and carbs, chances are that's an addiction. An addiction is we do the habit even though we have negative consequences. Even though we know better and it's not serving us, we do it anyway. So, hey, you call it what you want, but my experience is if it is an addictive habit, you can't do this alone. And the beautiful thing is, it's so much more fun and it's so much more doable when we do it in community. So at Heal Your Hunger, we do most of my program in community with each other and other emotional eaters. Yes, my ladies get one-on-one coaching as well, because one-on-one coaching to me is vital. But so is the community. So is realizing you're not alone. So is realizing you're not the only one who's dug food out of the garbage. If you've ever seen my TEDx talk, I talk about that. And then there's thousands of comments. Oh my God, I've done that too. Because we think we're the only ones. So the community heals us when we have the identification with the crazy habits that we've practiced, but also we share in the common solution. So we support each other in changing our lives, changing our living problem so we can heal our eating problem. Isolation fuels binge eating. The secrecy fuels binge eating. We're as sick as our secrets. When you're in community and other people are loving you and supporting you and telling you good things, oh my gosh, it's so much easier. Okay, so you need to be seen and you need to be understood. You need to be supported, and community provides that, provided that it's community with other emotional eaters. I know you have community at church with other family members, whatever, but it's not the same as community with others who have done and thought the exact same things around food. That is so healing. Tip number 8, make room for grief. Now, this is something I've never said to my clients or on a podcast, but I'm saying this now because I'm recognizing this is an essential part of my own healing journey. I have aging parents and they're not going to be around forever. And my mom has dementia. And I have an undercurrent of grief, especially because I just visited them. Grief is very subtle and surreptitious, meaning it's lurking, it's not obvious all the time, and yet it can still be there. It's kind of like the Norton antivirus running in the back of your computer. You don't notice it right away, and yet it can be pulling you down, sapping your energy, and making it hard to not overeat. We need to put a spotlight on our experiences of grief. Because if you don't realize you have grief, if you have this pain that's in the background, lurking in the back of your psyche, if you don't acknowledge it and deal with it, it can cause self-sabotage. It can be anticipatory grief, which is what I have with my parents. I also have grief over losing my ex-husband. It's almost 2 years. And many days I just feel sad and I miss him. He was my mentor at one time as well. So much of what I teach comes from what he taught me. So I have grief around losing him. We all, especially when we're in middle age, okay, I'm 58. When we're in middle age, people die. And then we have grief. So if you're an emotional eater and you're not making room for grief in your life, meaning you honor it by acknowledging I have grief, and you don't have to have somebody who's died to have grief. If your kids are leaving the nest or traveling across country and setting up a new life away from you, if you have a child who's not talking to you right now, if you're retiring, there's a lot of stuff that's happening right now if you're middle-aged, and you have to make room for that grief. Otherwise, it will slow you down and it will cause self-sabotage. Okay. So just honor it by saying, I feel grief right now. Like give it its rightful place in your life, in your host of emotions that you process. Tip number 9, get help, get coached. Stop doing it alone, but more importantly, invest in yourself. My experience is people don't want to pay to get help because of a few things. First, because it goes right up against their denial. When we struggle with food and weight, we don't want to admit that we can't do it on our own. So we're like, no, I'll just read the next book, or I'll just, attend a free class and figure it out. But if you've been struggling for more than 10 years with food and weight, you're not going to figure it out on your own. I mean, look at your record, right? You need to get coached. You need support. Part of why you want to do it on your own and you don't want to pay for it is because you don't want to admit that you have the problem to the extent that you would pay somebody to help you overcome it. Denial is part and parcel of having an addictive habit. And denial is an acronym for don't even notice I am lying. We lie to ourselves. We say, I can do it on my own. I've got this. I know what to do. Well, you may know what to do, but if you're not doing it, it doesn't matter what you know. But the point is that denial is keeping you stuck and keeping you from getting help. And I understand you spent a lot of money already. I get that. You spent a lot of money, so you're like, nothing I've spent money on has worked for me. I'm right back where I started or worse. So why would I throw good money after bad? And I'm here to say the money you've spent was likely spent on something that couldn't help you. So if you spent money on programs that focused on food and weight, they couldn't help you. They couldn't help you. So that means if you're going to spend money, make sure it's money spent on a program that will help you heal your relationship with food. That's the only hope. Spending money there, to me, is a good investment. Healing the underlying causes of emotional eating is not easy. If it were easy, everybody would do it, which means you need help to do that. You need coaching, you need community, you need support to do something that's possibly the hardest thing you've ever done. That was true for me. I had to get coached. I had to have somebody point out what was going on in my head when I couldn't see it for myself. I had to have somebody be able to warn me when I was on the road to self-sabotage. And guess what? When you ask for help, it's a strength, not a failure. Overeating and emotional eating is one of the hardest addictive habits to break, if not the hardest, because you have to eat. So why would you think you could do this on your own? My experience is in order to heal, you're going to need all the support you can possibly get. You're not meant to figure this out on your own. You're meant to do this with support. Tip number 10, stop postponing you. As emotional eaters, we're so good at taking care of others. As women in general, but specifically emotional eaters, like we take the cake on this. We're always busy helping others. We're always putting others before ourselves. And the result is clear. We just eat for support, right? We eat for support so we can be there to support other people. And that is ass backwards. We need to put our oxygen mask on first. As trite as that sounds, it's so true. And I know you're like, oh, I'll invest in myself when, the kids are done with college, or when we finish the trip to Italy, or when we remodel a bathroom, or I'll do it when I have more time. You're not going to have more time. Overeaters are overdoers. Like you're never going to slow down if you don't get support, because we're afraid to slow down. And so a lot of our busy and a lot of our caregiving has to do with avoiding ourselves and our own emotions. So you're not going to slow down unless you get support to slow down. And you're not going to get support to slow down until you decide you need to put you first. So much of my program is about helping women decide that they are important enough to put themselves first. A lot of times we feel selfish putting ourselves first. We feel selfish when we make ourselves a priority. But think about it. Are your kids, are your parents getting the best version of you when you don't put yourself first? Because my experience is when I don't prioritize my health and my self-care, I'm quicker to get angry. I'm quicker to be judgmental. I'm quicker to overeat, feel bitchy and grumpy. So that's what my family gets when I don't prioritize myself. So when you prioritize yourself and your health, everybody gets the best version of you. So it's not selfish, it's actually selfless, because the more you take care of yourself, the more you can come from love and compassion with other people. So as I wrap up, I want you to hear this. Lasting weight loss is not about trying harder. It's about living differently. When you address your living problem, your food problem takes care of itself. When you deal with your emotions instead of eating over them, when you calm your nervous system instead of pushing harder, when you nourish yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually, your relationship with food naturally begins to change. If there's one thing that you can take from this episode, I hope it's this. You're not broken, you're not weak, and you're not failing. You've simply been trying to solve a deeper problem with a surface level solution. So as you move into 2026, I invite you to stop postponing yourself. Stop waiting until things calm down. Stop waiting until you lose the weight first to start living. You matter now. Your life is happening now. Your healing matters now. And you deserve support on this journey. I hope these top 10 tips for lasting weight loss have resonated for you. And I hope you take just one and give it more thought and practice. And if you want support to heal your relationship with food, if you're tired of farting around and you don't want to be in the same place a year from now, please reach out. I so want to support you. So let's have a conversation. And thank you so much for being with me on this journey and during this episode of Confessions of a Binge Eater. I'll see you in the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.